for their budding Pacific Union. They want an African Union. There's no doubt that what NATO put on the table, Bilderberg will continue to mull over in some way, shape, or form, because NATO typically will have people there. And the drone strikes are said to increase under NATO, as NATO-related speakers said at a Chicago gathering I covered. They're going to rely more on a leaner approach to the military, which means more unmanned military missions, which means more drone strikes, and also something called smart defense was discussed at NATO. And I think a lot of this will wind up on the floor, or on the agenda in some way, going into Bilderberg, because there's so much interaction between the NATO brass, the NATO heads, intelligence, and Bilderberg. It's all kind of, one big happy family.
Sure. I mean, let's be clear. It's a global private corporate system that survives off tax money and fake Al-Qaeda threats they create, but then use in Syria and Libya as the good guys, but then give up our rights because they're also the bad guys. It's like a fix-all skeleton key they use. They're now announcing that the Air Force is going to double the amount of drones from 10,000 to 20,000, 30,000 domestic drones against us. It is invasion of the robots. They're also developing all these ground robots. We've got a crazy elite with automated computer factories where robots work on robots. This is their words, launching a giant drone attack on us. I mean, this is a science fiction movie. Mark Anderson comments on that. We're going to go to break and come back and get Charlie Skelton's take on that statement.
Well, none of that would surprise me. I'd have to independently confirm all those details. It sounds like something out of a Star Wars movie where you have these drone armies. But there's no doubt they're going to step up unmanned military things. And one of the things they want to add is smart defense, which includes using fewer live soldiers, but mostly involves merging defense decision-making. This was revealed at NATO, meaning that NATO will embed itself more deeply into the decision-making processes of its member states, meaning that Congress and the people will be cut out even more out of the decision-making.
Sure, unified command. That's what... Mark, stay there. 5 more minutes. I want to get Charlie's take on this and have you finish up. But that's what they told Congress. They're not involved in war now. The UN is.
You are listening to
All right, into another hour of worldwide broadcast. May 30th, 2012, I am in Virginia, less than a mile away from the global mafia crime syndicate meeting known as Bilderberg. Charlie Skelton riding shotgun until the bottom of the hour with us, and I'll continue with your phone calls. Mark Anderson, we were getting into a discussion about drones. Yes, people can look that up. 30,000 drones, $46 billion in funding over the next decade. Armed drones, CBS News, Associated Press, Predators, Reapers, small attack systems, and anti-personnel with shotguns, 50 cals, nerve gas. Also, they're announcing they're going to have them with tear gas and rubber bullets in Houston. All of this is the new smart military they talk about. This is getting humans out of it so the troops can say no, they don't care. They have giant robot armies we've got to fight. Yes, it is science fiction. It's 2012, and the technocrats are here. Finish your point on that, Mark Anderson, then we'll get Charlie Skelton's take.
Well, I was talking about smart defense being an administrative thing as well, where NATO envisions, you might say, elbowing into national decision-making much more deeply and saying, we want more say-so over what your Congress, quote-unquote, decides, even though our Congress really decides very little, other than, rubber stamping and just giving perfunctory approval to.
They want rubber stamping sign-over. Well, that's why Obama has told them, I'll launch wars and we'll do it under UN or NATO command. That's why the Secretary of Defense has said it. This is treason.
Yeah, and NATO, just not long ago, NATO was like, who? And now NATO is the merchant marine of big money, free trade, and the bankers. And, they won't take no for an answer. One protester called them the North American or North Atlantic Terrorist Organization. That would be a more accurate name. Wanting to elbow in on decision-making, wanting this, far less human involvement in a lean, mean world army, and wanting to expand east and force probably or cajole more nations to come in under the NATO umbrella as partners or members. They want to expand their membership all the way to Australia.
And they're setting up unified police states everywhere. Mark Anderson, I'll see you this evening. Great job. Look forward to shaking your hand.
Yeah, sounds good. Take care. Thanks. Hang in there, Charlie. See you later.
All right, Charlie's with us for 2 more long segments coming up. Charlie, going out to break, though, you were telling me during break, these drones are just out of control.
Yeah, no, I was saying that it's the single story that that's knocking around at the moment that most depresses me. But I mean, it was on the front page of the American papers. I saw it yesterday. That the American military has now got a contract to arm the Italian army's drones. So, they started as surveillance drones, and now they're being armed, and now they're all armed, and now they're being, used domestically. And I was talking, I remember, to Robert Ramsey, who's the longtime editor of Lobster magazine, which is a British underground magazine, and we started talking, and we got onto drones, and he just went, "Oh God, yeah." He said they're going to be just flying over and shooting you, and that's essentially it.
And it's the perfect cowardly weapon now, where even the enforcers aren't even going to have to be close to you, and now they already have autonomous drones. The globalists just pre-program the robots. Yeah. Folks, humans have to come together against this. But
add in, directed energy weapons, which is, one of the big talking points. I mean, I've spent a little time, because I've been here in Chantilly, I've spent a little bit of time on the websites of the big arms companies, and you just simply have to look at what they're saying on their websites, and that's, depressing. I was say scary.
Yeah, when the police are like, we can put a nerve gas package on this one. Yeah. I mean, it is our money used to build a giant automated drone system against us. It is a Star Wars movie. Yeah, it's like the globalist trade federations landing on Naboo and just gorging the robots.
Yeah, I was speaking to some guy who runs a bar nearby, and I said, you know about the conference? No, he'd never heard of it, and I just think we should all be like that. Why should we have to worry about these stupid things? But unfortunately, we do.
Well, it is 2012. Stay there. I want to get back into drones more. Any intel you've got on Bilderberg 2012? Charlie Skelton, London Guardian, is our guest in studio. Studio is here on the road in a hotel room. And we're going to be up to lots of First Amendment evil mischief against the technocratic global eugenicist scum. Straight ahead. Stay with us. Hi, this is Alex Jones. Did you know? You can read the London Guardian's latest breaking news. Bilderberg 2012, the technocrats are rising at this year's annual conference. And I haven't had time to click on. Is that your articles, Charlie?
That is, yeah, that's my one.
All right, Charlie Skelton writes for the biggest paper in England and probably one of the biggest English-speaking in Europe. I know it's on newsstands in Europe. And it's big to have the Guardian reporting on it because they can't ignore it anymore. Now, this will be your 3rd year covering it?
4th, I think, yeah.
4th year, amazing. I remember when I first interviewed you, you were, I want to say naive. You're like, really, world government, really? But you are a changed man all these years later. Tell me about the women, these piranha-like women. I never got in the building, but my guys saw them. I talked to some of the workers there and others. They say, yes, the women come to them and go, don't talk to any of the people. And then they're like, well, I wasn't going to talk to any of the press. And they're like, good, because bad things happen. So they're actually threatening people in there. Tell me what you saw them doing.
Well, we went for a quick lunch, my wife and I, and my wife went up and spoke to the ladies. The kind of Irma Blunt character, who's the more senior, and the tall, icy blonde, who's her lieutenant. And they're scary ladies, but they're actually scared of someone coming up. Hannah just went, "Oh, so how's it going? How's the preparation for the big event?" And it was like, "Please leave me alone, leave us alone." And I think they might be Dutch, so forgive my accent.
Okay, well the other guy said Swedish. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to guess Dutch.
But I mean, imagine. You had better not. It's like out of a movie. Better not speak to media. Okay, well why? We have machine gun nest, full auto. I'm sorry, I'm serious.
Yeah. No, I can quite believe it. They're then.
Oh no, not the machine gun nest.
Yeah. Oh, one of them. She shoved her camera in my face in Citrus. But this year she was filming us on a mobile phone, just as we were there at the desk of the hotel. And then again, I think we're filming them, so maybe that
shows you. Yeah.
So we're all filming each other.
I mean, what type of stuff did you see them doing? I mean, what did you witness inside?
Mainly, I witnessed a very nice crab salad, but they plonked us down next to some. The place is crawling with security guys, and we got sat next to some at lunchtime, and they were just we couldn't help overhear, and they're just talking about their various £30 million contracts from Booz Allen and CACI and all the big arms companies, and there's a lot of security here. I mean, even in this hotel, there's a lot of pairs of extremely buff men with crew cuts staying here. So unless it's I think it's a...
No, we're staying in the hotel without saying the name that has all the spooks in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing, is that, again, these are security contractors acting like cops. Yeah. And then going around and threatening people. And so you're at lunch, and they're going, yeah, another $30 billion, the American taxpayer. Mm. And they wrap it in the flag, but really we're building this private corporate empire for us.
Yeah, and you can just tell that, he said, one of the quotes is, you come out of the Navy and you go to a contractor and say, what's my mission? And that there are so many sliding doors, and this is one of the points I'm going to make hopefully throughout my stay here, is that everything is blurry at the moment. The blur between federal government and private contractors, between banks and academics and technocrats and politicians. You can't, you look a little bit close and you realise they're all just essentially it's the same power that is wearing different hats, and that's really boring. You want your world to be full of different people with different allegiances and interesting.
Well, also, it's all lies. Country, sovereignty. They sell us on their agenda in the name of sovereignty. But then they're butchering every known basic liberty and every canon of freedom. They're outrageously tyrannical. They have an outrageous anti-human eugenics agenda. And it's like, oh my God. And the average person is in a mind-numbed stupor, mesmerized.
Yeah, well, talking of eugenics, you can draw a straight line from the Nazis through to Bilderberg. And via Operation Paperclip, is it? These people like Prince Bernhard was Mark.
Yeah, you got a big article coming out after you finish with us today, and I appreciate you spending time with us, Charlie. You've got the floor. Tell folks about your big piece coming out in The Guardian in about 5 hours.
Well, I'm just going to do my little bit to stitch together some of the history, from the relationship between the CIA and Bilderberg and the SS, and you look at Prince Bernhard. He's a former SS officer who worked for IG Farben's secret.
And there was a group of SS even above the SS, and he was in that. It basically translates to Royal SS.
Right. Okay. And he was there with IG Farben, and people like the Dulles brothers and IG Farben. They're just it's pure Nazi money that spilled through from Wall Street.
The fighter bombers, like my grandfather on my dad's side in World War II, they were not allowed to bomb certain grids, and one of them was IG Farben.
Right, yeah. I mean, and so this is where Bilderberg was born. It was born in this kind of messy, full of Nazi, eugenic-y kind of, you have to look it up. And, intelligence communities, it all gets very, confused. But the big things that stand out are the intelligence community and the money. And, it's the money that comes through the Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, and once you get to talking about the foundations, then that's where you start going, oh my God, really, this is where the real power is.
Continue with your points, though, because you said that was the main thing you wanted to get into is your piece that's coming up. I mean, what you've discovered.
Well, I mean, a lot of this stuff has been done, and this is what I urge your listeners and viewers to do, is to go and look at the stuff that's already been looked at. There have been academics that have pieced together the history of the kind of British socialists, the left-wing movement in Britain post-war, and it all has its roots in CIA money. And the European movement, which was headed up by Joseph Rettinger, who went on to kind of form Bilderberg with Bernhard, the European movement was just a CIA front, and it's the money sort of comes round and back and gets washed through different things, and it comes. It's one way it's washing through a foundation, another way it's washing through a kind of educational thing or a political movement. All these post-war European movements, they're all kind of fronts, and But what's great is that we've got a photograph, and you can look at the people standing next to each other and go, okay, it's the CIA, it's Joseph Rettinger, it's the American Committee on United Europe, and that's where Bilderberg has come from. And so when you look at it today, and you look at last year, the keynote express being done by the head of the NSA, it hasn't lost touch with its intelligence roots. In fact, it is what it is. It's this creature that is part intelligence, part money, part banking, part academia as well. Don't forget them.
And media. There's some media.
And
there.
Media, yeah. And so that's it. It's very interesting just to trace it back through from the 50s.
Exactly, but we know their agenda because their documents have leaked, their different public statements. It's a horrible police state.